have a problem with people who complain about their government and who won't go the whole hog and won't acknowledge mistakes. So yesterday it's actually it was on Monday that Elizabeth Hale went on a shooting spree, wasn't it? Let me just check, because it reminded me of a song called I Don't Like Mondays by the Boomtown Rats. A girl going on a shooting spree, right? Let me just have a listen. It was a Sunday, wasn't it, boys and girls? And I was right about Plot in The Silence of the Lambs being about the perpetrator being a transgender person. It was a Monday that the shooting took place, wasn't it? Yeah, it happens. It's another elementary school. I Don't Like Mondays is a song by Irish New Wave group The Boomtown Rats about the 1979 Cleveland elementary school shooting in San Diego. 1979 Cleveland elementary school shooting. The principal and a custodian were murdered. 8 children and police officer Robert Robb were injured. A 16-year-old girl, Brenda Spencer, who lived in a house across the street from the school, was convicted of the shootings. Charged as an adult, she pleaded to 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon and was sentenced to a life in prison with a chance of parole after 25 years. Is she out now? She was born in April in 1962. In the San Diego, she committed a school shooting at the Grover Cleveland Elementary School in the San Diego Unified School District in the San Carlos neighborhood of San Diego, California. At the time, she lived in a house across the street from the school. Age 16 at the time of the shooting, she was 5'2", 157 centimeters, and had bright red hair. After her parents separated, she allegedly lived in poverty with her father. Wallace Spencer, both father and daughter, slept on a single mattress on the living room floor in a house strewn with empty bottles from alcoholic drinks. Acquaintances said Spencer expressed hostility toward policemen, had spoken about shooting one, and had talked of doing something big to get on television. Although Spencer showed exceptional ability as a photographer, winning first prize in a Humane Society competition, she was generally uninterested in school. She attended Patrick Henry High School, where one teacher recalled frequently inquiring if she was awake in class. Later, during tests while she was in custody, it was discovered Spencer had an injury to the temporal lobe of her brain. It was attributed to an accident on a bicycle. In early 1978, staff at a facility for problem students, into which Spencer had been referred to for truancy, informed her parents that she was suicidal. That summer, Spencer, who was known to hunt birds in the neighborhood, was arrested for shooting out the windows of Grover Cleveland Elementary with a BB gun and for burglary. In December, a psychiatric evaluation arranged by her probation officer recommended that Spencer be admitted to a mental hospital for depression, but her father refused to give permission. For Christmas 1978, he gave her a Ruger 1022 semi-automatic 22 caliber rifle with a telescopic sight and 500 rounds of ammunition. Spencer later said, I asked for a radio and got a rifle. Asked why he had done that, she answered, he bought the rifle so I would kill myself. You think it's time to stigmatize divorced parents? I think so, but I don't think Americans are ready for that sort of thing yet. I think they would rather die than go to hell than actually admit that mistakes were made. Shooting on the morning of Monday, January 29th, 1979, Spencer began shooting from a house at children waiting for 53-year-old Principal Burton Ragg to open the gates to Grover Cleveland Elementary. She injured 8 children. She began with 9-year-old Cam Miller since he was wearing Spencer's favorite color, blue. Spencer shot and killed Ragg as he and teacher Darrell Barnes tried to help children. She also killed 56-year-old custodian Michael Sushaw as he tried to pull a student to safety. A 28-year-old police officer, Robert Robb, had responded to a call for assistance during the incident, where he was wounded in the neck as he arrived. Further casualties were avoided only because the police obstructed a line of fire by moving a garbage truck in front of the school entrance. After firing 36 times, Spencer barricaded herself inside her home for several hours. While there, she spoke by telephone to a reporter from the San Diego Union Tribune who had been randomly calling telephone numbers in the neighborhood. Spencer told the reporter she had shot at the school children and adults because I don't like Mondays. This livens up the day. She also told police negotiators the children and adults whom she had shot were easy targets and that she was going to come out shooting. Spencer had been repeatedly reminded of these statements at parole hearings. Ultimately, she surrendered and left the house, reportedly after promising a Burger King meal by negotiators. Police officers found beer and whiskey bottles cluttered around the house, but said Spencer did not appear intoxicated when arrested. Crime scene photos contradict these accounts. Imprisonment. Spencer was charged as an adult and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon. On April 4th, 1980, a day after her 18th birthday, she was sentenced to 25 years to life. In prison, Spencer was diagnosed with epilepsy and received medication to treat epilepsy and depression. While at the California Institution for Women in Chino, she worked repairing electronic equipment. Under the terms of her sentencing, Spencer became eligible for hearings to consider her suitability for parole in 1993. As of 2022, Spencer has been unsuccessful at 6 parole board hearings. At her first hearing in 1993, Spencer had said she hoped police would shoot her and that she had been a user of alcohol and drugs at the time of the crime, although the results of drug tests done when she was taken into custody were negative. At a 2001 parole hearing, Spencer claimed that her father had been subjecting her to beatings and sexual abuse, but he said the allegations were not true. He should have been shot as well, executed. The parole board chairman said that she had not previously told anyone about the allegations. He doubted. The parole board chairman said that as she had not previously told anyone about the allegations, he doubted their veracity. In 2005, a San Diego deputy district attorney cited an incident of self-harm from 4 years earlier when Spencer's girlfriend was released from jail, as showing that Spencer was psychotic and unfit to be released. Early reports indicated that Spencer had scratched the words courage and pride into her own skin. Spencer corrected this during a parole hearing as reading as unforgiven and alone. In 2009, the board again refused a application for parole and ruled it would be 10 years before she would be considered again. In August 2022, Spencer and the Board of Parole Hearings agreed that she was not suitable for parole and that she would not be eligible for another hearing for another 3 years as a result of this parole suitability denial. She remains imprisoned at the California Institution for Women in Chino. Her next opportunity for parole hearing will be in 2025. A plaque and flagpole were erected at Cleveland Elementary in memory of the shooting victims. The school was closed in 1983 with a dozen other schools around the city due to declining enrollment. In the ensuing decades, it was leased to several charter and private schools. From 2005 to 2017, it housed the Magnolia Science Academy, a public charter middle school serving students in grades 6 to 8. In 2018, the school was demolished to construct a housing development, and the plaque was relocated to the former schools in Southern Edge at the corner of Lake Atlin Avenue and Lake Angela Drive. On January 17, 1989, almost 10 years after the events at San Diego's Grover Cleveland Elementary, there was another shooting at a school coincidentally named Grover Cleveland Elementary, this one in Stockton, California. 5 students were killed and 30 were injured. Christy Buell, a survivor of the 1979 shooting, said she was shocked, sad, and horrified by the headlines concerning the 1989 shooting. So it looks like America is going to get more of these shootings because there will be copycat shootings. It's the way to get attention in America. If you come from Hale didn't come from a broken home, did she? But we must wonder at the kind of Christian principles she was taught at her Christian school called the Covenant School in Nashville. So what I was going to say was that my diagnosis of the problem in America is that America doesn't have an official religion, and it doesn't sound like Americans are interested in acquiring an official religion, which cannot be Christianity because of what the founding fathers did, quarantining the church from their state. And there's only one possible religion that they could be using. But it looks like Americans would rather die and go to hell with their lack of an official religion, which means that their unofficial religion is the pursuit of happiness at the expense of others. It seems that they prefer their religion to be that than any proper religion. So it means that, I guess, the curse on America will not be lifted anytime soon. As I've said, it's really a very simple solution. All it takes is for Americans to acknowledge that that is indeed the problem. But it doesn't appear that even Carol, who is Muslim, who partially supports secular Quranism, is going to adopt the whole hog solution that I proposed. She wants, piecemeal reforms here and there, a little verse that she likes here and a little verse that she likes there, and she's not going to support a one-party state, which is actually in harmony with Quranic principles, as well as what George Washington advised in his farewell speech warning against political parties. It seems that Carol is just going to do things in her own unique little way, and it's all or nothing. But it's interesting that these shootings occurred in San Diego, which is, um, I believe, where Carol comes from. But what can you do, eh? If people actually make the preference clear when they say they would rather die and go to hell than admit that the founding fathers didn't quite complete their job when they didn't promote the religion from which they derived their First Amendment. And also, there will be more school shootings, and it will be normalized even more until, um, until maybe the Second Amendment is repealed, I don't know, or Americans have a different kind of secondary education where they have single sex secondary school, but maybe, they're just not going to do that. They would say again that they would rather die and go to hell than change anything about their culture, which is so precious to them. Or as Carl's keep on provoking Russia and keep on provoking China and see what happens. As for the moronic European leaders, I think it's time for Europeans to question the validity of liberal democracy. But since this stream was really dedicated to Sam, it is time for Israelis too to ask themselves whether they will continue to worship the idol of liberal democracy. It seems that most Israelis prefer to do that. But then it is obviously hidden idolatry, conceptual idolatry. After all, the values of liberal democracy are completely at odds with Torah principles. But who cares about principles these days if you don't have an official religion? And Israel and America are both secular states with no particular constitution that gives them any guidance on morality at all. And they're still refusing to acknowledge the problem. And that means the curse will not be lifted anytime soon. Stephen James asks how concerned I am about Sam's mental health. Well, it's no different today. I mean, I suppose he expects the Messiah to arrive because of more horrible things that are happening. I don't think the Messiah is going to arrive anytime soon because the solution is at hand. I have told you what the solution is. And what I was trying to say was that ordinary people, instead of blaming their government, ought to be talking about about my proposed solution. But I suppose they can't bring themselves to do that. Even the so-called political activists on YouTube, they can't actually bring themselves to ask if my solution is indeed the only solution. So it seems that they are saying to themselves and to others that they would rather die and go to hell than take the easy way out. My way is the easy way out. I'm not asking you to do anything difficult. I'm just telling you to open your mouths and talk about what must already be on your mind about the nature of your government and the nature of your moral system and whether you think it can long continue.